Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about advertising, and in particular how you can advertise yourself onto other people in an intelligent sort of way in order to gain people's interest, because the whole point of advertising is to get uninterested people to become interested people, and then for those interested people to then become buyers slash viewers slash audience, whatever it is that you want them to do. You want them to buy the specific product, or you want them to watch your film, or you want them to engage in your content, or whatever it might be, right? You want to turn uninterested people into interested people, and we'll call that a conversion rate, right? So let's say you just go for the widest possible net, you sling the widest possible net out, right? But if you have a wide net, you're going to have wide holes in your net, which means that more fish are going to actually get through. So in this regard, I'm talking about something like Facebook ads or Instagram ads and stuff like that. If you're just doing them for as wide an audience as possible because you don't know what your target demographic is, you're not going to get a very high conversion rate, right? And the reason for that is because, think about it like this. Whenever you see an advert for something, does it even enter your mind, or do you just scroll straight past it, or do you just click skip ad? Do you actually engage with the advert? Do you ever look at it and genuinely think, oh, there's a product I might buy, there's a thing I might watch, I might do that? Or do you think, at most, that looks like shit, whatever? Even if it doesn't really look like shit, even if the thing that person is trying to advertise is something that they put their heart and soul into, you know, over years and years and years, they built this business up from scratch, and they're really trying their hardest to actually get you interested, because they do have a genuinely good product, but it's about how you actually get that across to an audience. And certain things are going to be easier to advertise than others. Like I know someone who they paint tennis courts, right, in people's like houses for like rich people and stuff like that. Someone wants a tennis court, they hire this guy, they go, there's the bit of grass we want the tennis court on, paint it for us please. And they go, oh right, cheers, that'll be 500 quid, right? So that guy, he put out Facebook adverts. He bought some Facebook adverts and he really honed in on exactly the demographic he wanted. He thought about the age of people that play tennis, let's say 55-year-olds that want to play tennis, right? He thought about the kind of things that rich people are generally into, and then he thought about, so, you know, tennis, golf, like various sports. He wants particular sort of people that would wear the polo shirt, that would go out to the golfing course and go, ooh, very, very good, sir. Yes, I'm loving this. I don't know what they do, right? And I don't know exactly his business model, right? But he thought about exactly what his audience want, because he is part of his own audience. That guy likes tennis, and he knows what he would buy, he would click. Think about your advert that you're working on. Would you buy it? Would you engage with it? Or are you just trying to do this because you think your audience is stupider than you, right? There's that whole thing of like, treat the audience like they're stupid. Don't, no, the audience is incredibly intelligent. They're more intelligent than you think they are, way more intelligent than you think you are. And if you give them the benefit of the doubt and let them figure these things out for themselves, then they will be more interested as a result, because they won't feel like they're being taught down to, right? Audiences know, maybe they don't consciously know and are aware of various marketing strategies, but they do know a good advert when they see it, they know a good product when they see it, and they know good advertising when they see it, and they know if something is going to be of interest to them, right? I remember I used to have a friend who, they've moved away, and I used to hang out with them, and sometimes they would go on Instagram and I would see them like engage with adverts. They would swipe through the adverts, sometimes click on the thing. It would be like clothing companies and stuff like that. And I would never, ever, ever engage with an Instagram ad, right? Ever in my life. I'd see it says ad and I'd just swipe, right? But this person, they would actually engage with them. And that made me think, okay, well, maybe I'm more unique in this regard. And obviously I'm not unique, but like, I'm more like the underclass, the not the norm, right? Compared to people who do just swipe and have a look at it and don't just immediately see ad and just go, bomb, not interested, right? So you're looking through these Instagram ads, right? You want to make it as easy as possible for your audience to be interested in your product, right? You want to make it easy for them. The same way, if you're applying for a job, you want to make it easy for your boss to hire you. So let's try and think about it like trying to get a job. If you get a job, right, then that's the equivalent of selling a product, okay? So first off, you need to write your CV, and that will be your advert, okay? Because I mean, a CV is literally, resume for Americans, is literally just an advertisement for yourself, okay? So on this CV, you might have like your previous experience, you might have a personal bio that kind of tells you a little bit about yourself, right? these things would translate into an advert as like, here's the story of the company, try and make it an interesting story, something that someone could latch onto. It doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be like, I grew up in Mozambique and I managed to move over to LA and from here I started my own business. It doesn't need to be anything like that level of complicated. It can literally just be, I really like TV, so I made a TV show. Here's the TV show. It was a lot of hard work, but we managed to do it. Here's a fun story about the filming. Or say you want to sell, I don't know, bottled water. You go like, I used to go to the gym and I used to buy a lot of bottled water. But you know what I realized is that I'm spending way too much money on bottled water because I'm buying one at a time. What if I could get bottled water on a subscription service? Right, well, that got me thinking. I would use a bottle of water every 2 days. So I need a bottle of water delivered every 2 days, but it's not efficient to deliver just one bottle of water at a time. So let's get 7 bottles of water, one for every 2 days. So that's 1 bottle of water every 2 weeks. So you get 7 bottles of water delivered every 2 weeks. And maybe you can change the frequency and the number of bottles and if you want flavors and stuff like that, you could do all those sort of things. And right away, that's more interesting than just advertising bottled water. Here's some bottled water. Do you want it? No, I don't. I can go down the shop and get a bottle of Evian, right? So you think about how it's easy to make your audience interested in what you want. And the more interested you can get your audience by appealing to specific things that they are interested in, the higher your conversion rate will be from potential buyers to buyers, okay? So you want to advertise to your audience, think about who your audience are first. What are their interests? Why do they like stuff? Are they the kind of audience that would go for like flashy, big, bright colors and loud stuff? Say if you're trying to advertise like, I don't know, like what's the Alex Jones thing? All them like power bars and stuff like that. Well, people who like Alex Jones, for instance, and all those various like podcasts and stuff like that, they like big, loud personalities, big, bright, contrasty colors, intense, manly lightning bolts and dark blues and stuff like that. They don't want like dainty, like nice turquoises and cyans and stuff like that. If you were maybe doing something with an audience of, I don't know, people that are really into knitting, right? That's probably going to be a very different audience, and you would target that demographic in a very different way compared to the power bars, right? So if you're trying to do for this like knitting company, right, you might want a lot more pastel colors. You might want a lot more like nice and plain, ornate kind of things. You might want a nicer, fancier serif font. Maybe you want some joined up writing for a logo. Maybe you want some like maybe you want to engage in more pinks and like light blues and stuff like that, because you're going to have more of a female audience compared to the power bars where it was all about big manly stuff, So think about who your audience are, what do they like, why are they interested in it. Do market research. And market research can be as simple as just going through Instagram and seeing your competition, going in the comment section and seeing what they're interested in. Click on their profiles on various comments, just random comments, right? That might say like, oh, I'm interested in buying this. Click on their profile and see what they're interested in. What are they posting pictures of? Are they taking selfies in Ibiza? Are they like taking pictures of them like that at the gym? Are they doing stuff like that? And if you've got the one for knitting, you're probably not going to have commenters that post that kind of stuff. Maybe they'll have like a nice little picture of like, I don't know, the nice ornate tea that they got from this fancy place down in central London, or maybe they'll like take a picture at the beach in I don't know, Venice or something like that. I'm just spitballing general ideas here, because knitting and power bars, probably two opposite ends of the spectrum, and it's not going to be as black and white as that. I'm using these as simple ideas just to get you into the groove of what you can do with your audience, because what your potential audience will be unique to you, and you want to try and find a niche for yourself within that audience, within the general zeitgeist of all of humanity, the general populace, right? You want to take as small a section of the 8 billion of us as possible, as small a percentage as you can. We're talking like 0.000000001% of people that would be diehard interested in you, because that 0.00001% of 8 billion will still equal something like 50,000. If you can get all 50,000, or even like say 30%, that's 30% conversion rate. Because you've niched down so hard, say you can get even a 10% conversion rate of 50,000, that's 5,000, right? when 5,000 people buy your product that you make maybe $10 profit on, that's $50,000 profit straight away right there. And if you can get that per year, then you're on 50 grand a year. That's just a general basic idea. And I'm not like, I did business GCSE, so I'm not like someone who knows exactly what they're talking about, but I think it's good to have someone that doesn't know what they're talking about try and explain the process, because if I'm wrong, you know that I'm wrong. And you know what I'm saying doesn't sound completely right, so you might do it differently from how I do it, right? And that's kind of the key of all these sort of videos, is I want to get across the fact that I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to try and grapple with an idea. And I think the grapple is the tension. That's the conflict of the video. And that's the progress of the video, almost like a 3-act structure, trying to figure out the idea, right? And I think if you're trying to advertise to your audience, all you can do is try and learn about them. Try and ask them questions, like try and get to know people that want the kind of thing that you want. You know, maybe do little surveys, try and build some kind of platform using the internet, because you can use the internet in so many different ways to just try and build some kind of platform. There's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's YouTube, there's Snapchat, there's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's Flickr, Bandcamp if you want to do music. There'll be specific forums and specific websites dedicated to specific things that you want for your niche, for your product, for your general marketplace of ideas. There's so many marketplaces of ideas, and you can just find the right marketplace for you. Like, you wouldn't try and sell PS2 games at a sewing convention, and you wouldn't try and sell knitwear to a load of hardcore gamers, okay? So just think about who your audience is, what do they want, why might they want it, and how can you fill a little void in their life. So I think that's going to be it from me. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you managed to get something out of it. Hope it was useful to you. And if you're working on a product at the moment, feel free to pitch it. Pitch the idea, right? Figure out what your audience is. Tell me what your audience would be, what you consider your demographic to be, and get really specific with it. Don't just be like, oh, 16 to 35-year-old men that live in America. That's fucking every young bloke that lives in America. You think every young bloke's interested in your product? No. Think about like maybe 15 to 35-year-old blokes in America that like shonen anime. That's a bit more specific. Maybe now let's get to, maybe they'll only like older shonen anime, like ones from the 90s and the early 2000s. They don't like the new stuff. Bam, straight away there, you've got a little bit of a niche, right? And I've just come up with that at the top of my head, right? And I'm not planning on making a product to sell to 15 to 35-year-olds in America that like shonen anime from the 90s and early 2000s. But you might be working on something like that. Maybe you make like Bleach fan art or something like that. I don't know. But if you're working on something like that, or just anything in general, please let me know in the comments what it is that you're working on, how you plan to get your product or service to a market, and what your steps are. And let's come together and figure out a business acumen. So thank you very much for watching this video, everybody. Have a good rest of the day. Take care, and bye-bye.